ABG President says independence will come. Devastating effects left behind in Manus. And NAQIA partner with Australia and New Zealand.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening and thanks for joining me for Tuesday's news. After being sworn in as the fourth president of the autonomous Bougainville government, Ismail Touarama gave his inaugural speech. He said independence will come and that his government will work to acquire more powers from the PNG government. The new president said for independence to be achieved, economic empowerment is needed. Touarama added that Panguna mine will be considered, but said he would not put all his eggs in one basket, thereby looking at SMEs and the development of the private sector. Prime Minister James Marape was emotional when the national anthem and Arab anthem were sung. He then announced his government's commitment to give back Bougainville Copper Mine's 19% shares held by the PNG government to the autonomous region. The Prime Minister said a full transfer of revenue powers to ABG include mining, fisheries, forestry and agriculture, and he also announced the government's commitment to pay off all outstanding restoration grants since 2001.
Mr. Speaker, the joint consultative framework has already been agreed to by the March JSB. My government's priority is to continue the preparations and conduct consultation dialogue with the government of Papua New Guinea. The Bougainville Peace Agreement, the Bougainville Constitution, international treaties and conventions will show us the way, our way, journey to our destiny.
The realization of economic independence must take place quicker. And whatever you do with Panguna is your business, it's not my business. Let me, by this conversation, and ask few Bougainvilleans to come to me on the side. They were engaged in talking about Bougainville, or Panguna and Jacob Padden. And Mr. talking about, let me know, walk for me, you go back to Kamanville or Bougainville. Kamanville or Bougainville, but deal on a resource for Bougainville. You know, Kamanville must be, but deal on a resource for Bougainville. So we like to talk somewhere along some of brother me, whether one school or senior long, you mean on time, the independent coming up now. You stop going to help him solve this crisis for Bougainville. Now something to Panguna go back, you know when asking me to keep him back from Panguna stuff and we listen go back from people. Then we come no matter what to we make another talk. And people start by detaching fully now. Power from you, or raising revenue for you, and you raise it. No more by you report from Fish Minister from you belong must be. DY Minister from you belong must be a Papua New Guinea. Or Minister from one no more resource for you. May give you commitment, you talk about independent, right, independent, you can discuss behind, but you raising revenue as a president of past time. So full power of you raising revenue for you, fish for you yet, DY for you yet, agriculture for you, mining for you, source of mining, all the gas to them for you. One resource you raising for you, and for you, no help for you.
The regional processing center at Lombrum in Manus province may have been shut down, but the ripples of the 4 years operation of the center have changed the island province forever. Locals say the asylum deal between the Australia PNG government has not only brought economic benefits, but devastating consequences.
The establishment of the regional processing facility at Lombrum had delivered a booming economy, jobs for the local people, and the much-needed services that Manus province needed for many years. But on the other hand, the Manus people don't have much say over how the center is to be managed on their own land.
So all come on the more developments where helping more man in terms of money, na all pamito ko na more training is or some work man or go na work sim na some something kind of all services the road.
About 90 million kina have been provided as aid to the province through health, education and road infrastructure projects. Although it provided some relief to the province that rarely sees such big funding, it was viewed by many locals as a modest slice of the total payoff to the PNG government, amounting to over 1 billion kina that were well spent elsewhere in the country.
Only comes to the Manus na people of package development in a Manus selection. Plan they have too long for one even which you could plan a meeting or some law personal development meeting or some big plus semis must come up inside the Manus.
More than 1,000 job opportunities were provided that cut off more than 50% of the unemployment rate in the province. Many younger people left their remote villages and flocked into Lorengau town in search for rewarding opportunities. Since then, many people in the province were questioning if the facility would last, as it doesn't include social mapping and the future sustainability plans before it started. And it was not until 2017 when the Supreme Court handed down its decision to close the facility after rendering it to be illegally detaining the refugees. Since 2017, after the closure of the processing center, nothing much has changed for the island province, and life returned to what it was 4 years before the center was established.
I muli move na go back. Emi ko no mo. It's no muli mi ino mo want la kain look sa ko ni ka maplo dis la.
Development supposed to come inside the place. Isa ka good plan, isa ka no good plan la. So likewise all asylum seekers time only kisimol ka no Manus. Ikan good plan and no good long come long on to.
For now, the province is going through a transitional period. Issues of interracial marriage between local women and refugees have increased over the last 3 years, and village elders are cautious and reluctant to allow children fathered by the refugees to be entitled to traditional land ownership. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News.
The PNG Teachers Association this morning held its third National Management Committee meeting for the year to discuss issues affecting teachers in country. Some of the issues discussed include pay cuts, appointments, leave fares, inspections and the standard-based curriculum in services. Members of the National Management Committee were also urged to serve teachers in the country with pride and honesty.
The third National Management Committee meeting of the PNG Teachers Association saw all regional representatives and support staff in attendance. The meeting is to discuss issues affecting the association and teachers in the country. With pending issues within the association, the Management Committee members were urged to serve with pride and honesty to ensure teachers' issues are addressed.
I want to assure all of you in my opening remarks that you are elected. And I want you to hold on to that. I want you to make sure that you have a role to play for your financial members and for the teachers in the country.
Agendas discussed in the meeting include PNGTA position restructure, finance report, uniforms for branch executives, a nationwide membership drive, among others. Issues concerning teachers were also discussed in the meeting. Some of these issues include pay cuts, teachers' appointment, teachers' leave fares, inspection for eligible teachers, and in-service programs.
I appreciate your presentation, your present here now, and anything that we go and say things, we must know that anything that we make decisions for the good of our teachers who are suffering right now.
Following the election of its new executives early this year, there have been differences between two factions. With these issues in place, education authorities are not working closely with PNGTA, and they are calling on authorities to recognize this National Management Committee.
We have not received any court order from the people that are fighting against us that stops us from our duties. And of this day on, I'd like to encourage everyone to know that you must represent your teachers at your provincial level, at your district level.
Rayon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
Justice Stephen Pokanis has been reappointed to serve. Stephen Casman, has been reappointed to serve as a national and Supreme Court judge in Papua New Guinea. His swearing-in today marks the fourth reappointment for the next 3 years, commencing today. Justice Casman has served in the Southern Highlands and Hela provinces before transferring to Kokopo National Court as a residential judge. His swearing-in today was witnessed by other judges, including Deputy Chief Justice Sir Ambeng Kandakasi.
As a legal practitioner, mainly a litigant, but with some corporate law and commercial and stuff like that. And I was, towards the end of that career, I served on the National Land Development Task Force, which is now the National Land Development Program. Quite a learning experience for me and a fascinating experience. Obviously dealing with land in Papua New Guinea, and I'm excited by the developments they've made. I also served as counsel assisting at the Commission of Inquiry into the Department of Finance, and immediately after that I was appointed as a judge of the National Supreme Court in 2011, and I've served 3 terms, and this is my 4th term of 3 years as a judge of the National and the Supreme Court of Justice.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll be back with more stories after these messages. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Pacific Horticultural and Agricultural Market Access, or Pharma Plus program, and the National Agriculture Quarantine and Inspection Authority today signed a memorandum of understanding. They agreed to work together to address threats to biosecurity in PNG. The small ceremony was witnessed by representatives from the Australian High Commission and the New Zealand High Commission. The Australian and New Zealand governments are the major financial contributors to Pharma Plus.
The Pacific Horticultural and Agricultural Market Access, or Pharma Plus program, has been working with the National Agriculture and Quarantine Inspection Authority for the last 5 years. It is a non-government organization that is working with NAQIA to better deliver biosecurity-related services in PNG, with immediate focus on the 2 present threats, the African swine fever and fall armyworm.
Annual budgets for the program actually is about 2 million Australian, about 1.9 million Australian dollars. There's $1 million from Australia and $1 million New Zealand dollars from the New Zealand government. And currently we help work on what we call market access and biosecurity and trade issues.
Most of its funding comes from the Australian and New Zealand governments. Today, representatives from both governments witnessed the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between Pharma Plus and NAQIA. The signing solidifies the work both organizations have been doing over the years. Due to COVID-19, the head of Pharma had signed the MOU earlier in Australia and sent to PNG for the managing director for NAQIA to sign.
We have been working very closely with Pharma, with the Australian government and the New Zealand government. And we said thank you so much for this occasion. It is very important for our organization, NAQIA, as we continue to fight pest and disease in this country.
Supporting and strengthening biosecurity systems is a key way of taking forward our partnership that we really value with PNG. We're committed to supporting the government of PNG and NAQIA through other partners and together to protect PNG from this and other incursions.
NAQIA is a government institution that relies heavily on the government to fund its work. Like many government offices, it too has felt the impact of reduced funding due to COVID-19.
Although government doesn't fund us many times, we do generate a little bit of money, but during this period when COVID-19 has taken center stage, we have been having difficulty trying to raise revenue. We are struggling at the moment. But we have been telling our staff, our scientists, to make sure that we are on the ground, especially in the EPIC Center, ASF EPIC Center in the Southern Islands, and as well as in Chiwaka, in Chibupran, where coffee berry varieties. Our scientists are still there. They're still managing the roadblocks. They're still there 24 hours.
So the support by the New Zealand and Australian governments through Pharma Plus is highly appreciated. That support played a huge factor in containing the spread of African swine fever in the Highlands region.
These are very serious diseases. But Pharma Plus have been at the back of us.
The main issue at the moment is the African swine fever emergency response, and we've been working with NAQIA in that space, particularly funding them with all the technical response.
While the globe is currently faced with threats to human life due to COVID-19, countries must also assess their preparedness for other unforeseen and lurking biological threats to food and agriculture that can also be life-threatening. Shamin Poreambeb, National EMTV News.
Police have yet again busted another local drug trafficking network during a routine police road check, recovering a large stock of marijuana last Friday, September 25th. The NCD Metropolitan Superintendent is making an urgent call for all port authorities and police to work together to clamp down on drug trafficking.
Reports indicate that police stumbled across another local drug trafficking network during a routine police check on the 25th of September, evidently recovering a large stock of marijuana. Members of the Fox Unit 202 during this police road check stopped a cab near the Port Moresby Wharf. However, one of the two passengers in the cab, noticing it was police, made an escape by fleeing from the cab and into the nearby bushes. The police unit searched the cab and, confirming their suspicions, recovered a sizable amount of marijuana wrapped and hidden among some ripe pineapples. Having arrested the driver and one other occupant, they commandeered back to the wharf where the bulk of the contraband was recovered. Metsudrano, in a statement to media, made reference to a bust earlier in the year where a huge quantity of marijuana concealed in 230 bags of coca originating from the Highlands was recovered in a bust similar to this at the Port Moresby Wharf. Meanwhile, Drano says surveillance at the wharf and surrounding areas has been beefed up, and police will maintain such operations until long-term security measures are discussed and put in place to protect the ports from such crimes. Drano states he will meet with port authorities to discuss the activities of drug mules that are concealing illicit drugs inside fruit and vegetable bags and shipping them to Port Moresby, urgently calling on all port authorities to work together with police to deter and mitigate the trafficking of illicit drugs and substances into the nation's capital. Anet Kora, National EMTV News.
The 29th of September every year is a date set for police officers to remember all those who have died in the line of duty. Acting Deputy Commissioner Administration Joan Clarkson, who was in Lae to commemorate the day with officers, said it is a time to reflect on the roles they have in society as police officers. Today, a parade and church service was hosted in Lae to mark National Police Remembrance Day.
This morning, police officers in Lae hosted this parade to commemorate National Police Remembrance Day. But today, one thing was done differently. It was an all-women parade, and they were inspected by the Acting Deputy Commissioner Administration, Joanne Clarkson.
You give honor to the first women to join the constabulary in 1977. By coming out today and flying the colors of women in policing proudly.
The National Police Remembrance Day is commemorated in PNG, Australia and other Pacific countries to remember officers who died in the line of duty. This is the first time a parade and church service was hosted in Lae to mark the day.
They only do that in Port Moresby, but the Commissioner in his wisdom decided to spread it out. So he sent DCP Administration, Acting Deputy Commissioner Administration to come to Lae to participate with us to celebrate this very important occasion for the RPNGC.
In honor of those that died recently, wreaths were laid and candles were lit in their memory. Clarkson said while remembering those who have died, it is also a time for officers to reflect on their roles as police officers.
It's also an opportunity for us to, at the time as well as reflecting, to refocus and to renew and rejuvenate and perhaps reflect on the code of ethics of the police force and what it means to each one of us.
For the women who took part in the parade today, they represented their colleagues and also remembered the first 6 women who joined the RPNGC in the 70s.
We fly the banner for them, and I hope that today, in some small way, made for them that very first day they walked into the college a proud moment.
Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Leh.
And now looking at the NAS Funds market report, the Kina opened unchanged at $0.2860 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina is buying $0.2785, $0.3897 Australian dollars, $0.2306 euro, and 28.73 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher, coffee and cocoa closed higher, copper closed lower. Crude oil is trading lower, palm oil and copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 410.1 points higher. The ASX 200 is trading at 0.2 points lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 6.6 points higher. National EMTV News continues with more after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Landowners from Porabada village in the Central Province are demanding a review of the PNG LNG project benefits agreement, with the previous agreement made in 2010, including 3 other villages, Papa, Lealea and Boira. A community leader and general secretary of the negotiation team has spoken on behalf of the village, expressing concern on the slow progress since the previous agreement was made, with promised infrastructure developments not being implemented. The landowners are calling on the Petroleum and Energy Minister and other relevant authorities to bring their concerns to Parliament and enable the review to take place.
The $19 billion PNG LNG project, which commenced production in 2014, includes the provinces Hela, Southern Highlands, Western, Gulf and Central, with about 700 kilometers of offshore and onshore pipeline. The project has the potential to produce 11 trillion cubic feet of LNG over its projected lifespan. There is a gas conditioning plant in Hides, Hela province, and a liquefaction storage facility just outside Port Moresby. Porabada village is located about 4 kilometers from the nation's capital, Port Moresby, and the PNG LNG project site is about 6 kilometers from the village. But the landowners from the village claim that the agreed benefits made 10 years ago, together with 3 neighboring villages, are non-evident at this time, and that a review of the previous agreement is due.
People of the 4 villages and especially the Minister for Petroleum and Energy to hear, because 2009 and 2010 we went for UBSA and LBSA at Maribarak. UBSA was at Kokopo and SLBSA was at Maribarak. That's some 10 years ago. So under the LNG benefit distribution structure and the laws and the bylaws, we are subject to a review.
Sisia Morea, a former councillor of Porabada village, was involved in the negotiations for the previous benefits agreement.
So Porabada is now looking forward for a review of the LNG agreement with ExxonMobil and the Department of Petroleum and Energy, for the Minister Honorable Keringa Kua to push for a review in Parliament, and that the review goes to the downstream. We are the downstream, and it goes to the pipeline, and it goes to the midstream, which is the pipeline, and then up to the upstream. So the review across the board. So there will be changes of newborn, and changes of the figures, the patients who died.
One of the biggest infrastructure projects that was promised to the affected villages under the benefits agreement, including Porebada, was a 4-lane highway from Port Moresby City to Lea Lea village, also linking Porebada, Boira and other villages or new establishments in the area.
It's a 2-lane full of potholes, and if you go to Papalele, where the drug syndicate that took place, that's supposed to be main highways. Now it's like a bush track.
Other promised projects include a hospital and a teachers' college for human resource development. However, these are yet to be delivered, and this greatly concerns the affected landowners. The landowners of Porebada also claim that the royalty benefits in the initial agreement are not sufficient for the large population that the village has.
And a multi-billion project is lying right next to, it's about 5 kilometers to 6 kilometers away from Porebada village. And it's annoying, and as I've expressed myself as the General Secretary of the negotiation team for Porebada, Porebada is a bigger village out of the 3 other communities, Papalele and Boira. So we really want the review to take place.
Dennis Orere, National EMTV News.
And turning overseas, the battle to become America's next president is on. The first televised debate between political foes Donald Trump and Joe Biden will be telecast tomorrow in Cleveland, Ohio.
Those New York Times records dominating the headlines here, both in their newspaper and across all media channels. More detail about the $400 million worth of personal debt that Donald Trump's going to have to repay in the next couple of years. There's also that slightly sticky issue of the IRS audit. That could lump him with another $100 million worth of debt he'll have to repay. Tomorrow's debate was supposed to be about the pandemic, climate change, race relations, the economy. Well, we can now expect tax to be included in that as well. Donald Trump's returns just $750 in 2016 and 2017, far lower than what an essential worker would pay. Joe Biden's no doubt going to bring that up, but he says it won't be personal.
He's going to want to make it personal. He's going to want to get in the mosh pit. I'm going to talk about why I want to be president of the United States.
Yeah, I am looking very forward to it. Thank you.
Well, he says it won't be personal, but it might be hard to not make it so when you hear those tidbits coming out about those tax returns, the $70,000 Donald Trump wrote off as a business expense during his time on The Apprentice for hairdressing.
All right. Well, let's talk more about the debate, Anna. Why is Ohio such an important location for this debate?
Yes, well, it's been considered a swing state, but now it's also considered a battleground state. Donald Trump won here in 2016 by 8 percentage points over Hillary Clinton. That was on the back of that Make America Great Again mantra that he had. But this time round, he's against Joe Biden, but he's also against his own record of the past 4 years, and we're really seeing these polls jump around quite a bit. Last week, it was Joe Biden in the lead by 5 points. This week, it's Donald Trump up by 2, and that might be off the back of 2 rallies he had here in the last week. Joe Biden hasn't been here since March. So tomorrow night's debate will certainly be crucial for helping undecided voters choose who they want to see as president come November the 3rd.
And Trokai Sports is next. Fidelis Sukina has the details.
Yes, Helen, we'll check out rugby league in the Hiri West competition, the Intercity Cup and football. Join me for Trokai Sports after the break.
Trokai Sports.
Good night and welcome to Trokai Sports. While the Central Dabaris are still finding their feet in the Intercity Cup, Hiri West Rugby League has already started creating pathways for new and young talents in the area for opportunities to make the feeder team to Central Dabaris.
The Hiri West Rugby League has hosted 24 teams taking part in a 9th Development Carnival in Papa and Boira villages just outside of Port Moresby. The 24 teams have been placed in 6 pools, with the pool games played yesterday and today.
Right now we have our 12 teams from Gaire, Baruni, Tatana, Koko, Koderika, Boira, Papa, Lele. They are all playing here. And 24 teams, that's why we divided it to 12. Another 12 playing at Papa Oval.
According to Hubert Warapi, president of the Hiri West Rugby League, combined with having village youths having to participate in the games during Term 3 holidays, the 9th Carnival is also a tool to identify talent towards the existing Central Dabari's high performance program. He says the platform is also to encourage villages to become development leagues, giving focus to junior rugby. While this initiative is only being rolled out in the Hiri West area, President Warapi hopes to see the other local leagues take on the idea as a pathway towards the provincial team, the Central Dabaris. The 9th Carnival will go into the finals tomorrow in Papa Village.
From here, the winners, and at Papa Oval winners, from there we're going to select the cup division, plate division, and ball pennant.
Kilawani, Trokai Sports.
The NCDC Moni Plus Port Moresby Vipers and the Hela Wigmen have made it to the preliminary finals of the Digicel Cup after close wins last Sunday. The two teams will face each other this weekend for a chance in the semi-final.
They come back towards...
The Port Moresby Vipers started off well with a cutout pass by 5'8" Aseboas, finding halfback Karis Peter for the team's first try in the 12th minute.
They've got Aseboas. He links up with Karis Peter, angles back in fill, and there it is. There should be a try.
Boas slotting in the 2-point conversion, Vipers taking a 6-0 lead. But the Muruks fought back 5 minutes later, Leon Undupie with an exceptional try.
Another good pass there, but they're still able to work it through their hands.
It was referred to the video referee and later awarded.
Oh, it's a try. Wow.
With the much-needed momentum, the Muruks took over the lead. A break by Mackenzie Ye linking up with Wesley Batari for a try.
Is he going to go all the way? No, he's out to punt the ball. And Batari goes in for his first try in Muruks colours.
A successful conversion giving the Muruks the 10-6 lead. But just 5 minutes before half-time, the Vipers equaled the scoreline 10-10.
Towards the edges there, and the door goes over.
The play before from Aseboas looked to be
a difficult sideline conversion, but Aseboas nailing the conversion, ending the match 12 points to 10 in favor of the Vipers. In the other qualifying match, it was the Wigmen that scored early. Just 2 minutes into the match, Solowane claiming the first 4-pointer.
As Solowane runs away to score.
Solomon Pokari extending the lead to 6-0. The Mioks managed to get their act together and scored in the 16th minute through a determined Aken Talim, who powered his way over the try line.
He's just having a look. Try time.
Roger Laka leveling the scores at 6-6 with the conversion. A penalty gave the lead to the Mioks, who led 8 points to 6 heading into half-time. The Wigmen came back in the second half with a short side play, Norman Brown with the try. But it was referred to the video referee. After the verdict, the try was awarded. But the Mioks snatched back the lead with this try.
A little grabber through, and it should be a try. There it is, the Mioks.
But a 12-10 lead by the Mioks was taken back by the Wigmen, closing off the match 14 points to 12.
Here, there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
The Vipers will face off against the Wigmen to earn a spot in the semi-finals. And still to come in Trokai Sports, technical issues in NSL and the blow-up in the Bledisloe Cup. Stay with us.
Trokai Sports.
And welcome back to Trokai Sports. There have been questions raised about the level of referees and refereeing in the Kumul Petroleum National Soccer League. This will be a task the new General Secretary of the PNG FA will be looking into on best how to improve the situation. Proper refereeing and knowledge of the game are crucial in officiating matches, and concerns have been raised to the new General Secretary of the PNG FA, Pius Letenge, on the recent performances by match officials in the Kumul Petroleum National Soccer League competition. Letenge, who had only been appointed last week, has a huge task ahead in setting new standards for football in Papua New Guinea. He says that he will be looking into the existing policies and plans of PNG FA to work within the guidelines to improve the situation.
First thing first, we want to see that strategic plan. Where does it take us to? Those pillars. What are the objectives in those pillars? And if the technical aspect is also in those pillars, we will address that. If not, I will have to bring forward so that we can start addressing it now before we get more comments coming from outside.
President of Papua New Guinea Football Association John Capinato says with the matches now being televised and on live stream on social media, the fans are more in tune with the matches and are being critical. He says it is an issue that must be taken on by the General Secretary and the PNG FA staff to improve the standard of officiating.
People are talking about referees and all that's going on. How do we improve that? We're going to work on that. Now that our game is not just without media, now it's on live, it's on stream, and people are making a lot of comment. People are watching all over the world, and this is something that the new CEO needs to work now with the technical, the referees, and say, how are we going to resolve that? Now we got to find a way.
And moving overseas, the All Blacks coach has described the row between New Zealand Rugby and Senza as bitterly disappointing, while indicating he's not prepared to spend Christmas in quarantine.
Such a normal scene for such unusual times. The All Blacks going about their business as their coach became the latest to lash out at Sansa.
We're bitterly disappointed that what was proposed got changed.
That proposal to play their last rugby championship test on the 5th of December, not the 12th, as per the disputed schedule.
Are you prepared to quarantine in Christmas should it come to that?
Well, like I said, there's been set expectations and they haven't been delivered on, so that's up for us to the game and Sansa to sort out the next few days.
Sounds like a no.
You can take that.
The players attempting to focus on their jobs on the field, but unable to escape the uncertainty.
There's so many scenarios going around, and we've talked about that, like what's plan A, plan B to plan F.
Plan A to F, do any of them include quarantining for Christmas?
No, the only one that really does is the one that Sansa's come up with.
Ian Foster won't go as far as to threaten a boycott, instead throwing Sansa's claim the scheduling's about player welfare back at them, arguing their welfare is about bringing an end to the All Blacks year, given they haven't had a break since February.
At some point we've got to draw a line in the sand and say that's enough.
As yet, the playing group, including its new fathers, aren't committing to any hypothetical scenarios.
Everyone will be in their different situation, but there's no point going to our, the new dads and their partners and saying, oh, there's like 6 situations, and that's just, the wives will be. I just can imagine what would happen. So, we won't. Once we get a solid plan, then we can have that conversation.
So, when will they have said plan?
Today would be great, but we'll accept tomorrow.
Wishful thinking? We'll find out in these testing times for a rugby relationship very much on the rocks.
And that story ends Trokai Sports. The weather forecast with Helen after the break.
Trokai Sports. Trokai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus. With you always.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Rain showers and drizzles tonight, then fine, partly cloudy morning in Port Moresby. A few rain showers and drizzles tonight, then cloudy morning in Daru. Rain drizzles tonight with a cloudy morning in Kerema. Occasional rain showers tonight with a cloudy morning in Alotau and a few rain showers tonight, then a cloudy morning in Popondetta. In the Momasa region, a few rain drizzles tonight, then cloudy morning in Lae. A few showers and drizzles tonight with a fine partly cloudy morning in Medang. A shower or two tonight with a fine partly cloudy morning in Wewak and mostly fine, although partly cloudy tonight and tomorrow morning in Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine, although partly cloudy tonight with light morning drizzles in Lorengau. A few showers and drizzles tonight and cloudy morning in Kavieng. Occasional rain showers tonight, then cloudy morning in Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe, and a few showers tonight with a fine, partly cloudy morning in Buka. And in the Highlands region, a few showers and drizzles tonight, then morning fog right across the region in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for tonight from all of us here at MTV. Thank you for your company. Bye for now.